Now I got pressure.
Yeah.
What's your impressions of studying film of Carson Beck? What kind of challenge does he present as a coordinator?
His efficiency throwing the football is as good as there is in the country right now. You really look, I mean, their third down numbers are the best. And I think when your third down numbers are the best, yes, credit their O-line. I mean, I think they've 7th in the country in sacks given up. So I think that gives him some security. So it's not all him. But I think he's not only a product of what they've been doing on offense, but they've had good perimeter players. They've created some good space. They've had the best tight end in college football. They protected the passer, and he's efficient. And so when you put that together, and I do think what you see with him that he probably doesn't get acknowledged for, and he's not a scrambler, but what he does is he does know how to escape the pocket, when to escape, and he usually does it with really good efficiency and getting first down. So, I mean, you put that together, and I think that's why he's had such a good year. That's why they've been so efficient on offense, and I think he gets a lot of credit for that, and he deserves it.
And your kids probably got their hearts broke when they saw Jordan go down. They saw their hearts broke again when the committee came out. How do these kids keep bouncing back? I mean, I know kids are more resilient than we are. I get that, but there's only so much anybody can take. What's it say about this group that they keep rolling?
Well, I appreciate you acknowledging it, but who's to say where that point is? Because once you get to that point, you failed. And so, it's our job as coaches to build them as young men. It's our job as coaches to build ourselves. And you only get built with the opportunities that are in front of you, but you need to be prepared for those opportunities. And the thing about life is you never know what's coming. And so you're constantly trying to build for that. And then when you come against somebody say, I can't believe this happened, why me? Well, how long are you going to sit there trying to figure that out? And how long are you going to then turn the page and figure out, I'm built for this, I'll be better because of it. And that mindset, and some people call it, well, you can't be numb to life. You can't, you got to allow hurt to happen. But if you allowed hurt to make you worse from it, then that's one. If you improve from that hurt or from that anger or the disappointment, that's when you win. And I think you got to be prepared for all moments. And so how do you build that? Every day, in every way, in relationships, in your play, in your rehab from injuries, in your ability to read a book, whatever that all is. I mean, there's several ways to improve, but I think we all wake up in life and say, I just got to get better today. Then life gets in the way, and then you have regrets. Then you go to bed and say, damn, why did I let that happen? Well, our job is to make sure that we wake up every day with the mindset, but then we build on that. That's why we practice in the morning. What's that?
How do you make something so hard sound so easy?
I don't know if I did.
You did.
Oh, well, it's not that easy. But I think you build for it daily. And I think as coaches, you do a great job of trying to find those moments throughout each day. On January 14th, when there's no lights on and nobody's trying to ask any questions, and you find maybe an opportunity for that kid to grow. It could be in school, it could be in relationships, it could be in football, it could be when a kid is at his highest peak of his football playing career, and then you move him to position in the middle of the spring. Coach, why? Well, you need to. Does that prepare you for dealing when Jordan gets hurt against North Alabama? I don't know, but I think all things are connected.
With opt-outs and transfers, it's becoming a more prominent part of the game. It didn't always used to be that way, but these bowl games are more and more also about getting young players experience. Just how important are these reps for these young kids?
I think all reps are important at all times, and I told our coaches Tuesday after practice, because we do. I mean, we have some players that roles will be significantly accelerated in this game. And if you're getting ready for this game now with those players, we failed them. And we played really good as a defense this year. We won a championship. Great, awesome. But have we made everybody better every day? Because that's the goal, right? And you got to do that in a team atmosphere, because that's more important, right? And so as you're going through that, you go and you beat Florida, and you're getting ready for the next game of the championship game, and maybe you have a young freshman that didn't really play at all in that game. Well, then Sunday night when you have practice, you put the amount of energy into him that you put into Kalen DeLoach getting ready for the championship game, because that's your job. That's your job. You need to grow all, and you keep, I think as a coach, you tell each player, you tell them as a group, your job is to improve daily. You need to maximize your opportunity daily. Well, look in the mirror as a coach. Like, are you doing that for the walk-on? Like, are you? Well, coach, I can't do that. That's exhausting. Welcome to life. Welcome to success. Like, you better be strapped in for that. Because if not, you're in the wrong business.
When talking with Coach Atkins yesterday, he mentioned the opt-outs as a sense of, I think he used the word individualism, but he then followed up by saying, you know, the culture and the identity of this team will still shine through. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys get hurt. Opt-out's a great word to have. I mean, there's guys that are hurt that can't physically play. So what do we say to them? Calling them opt-out? Like, what are we saying? You know what I mean? And so it's easy to blanket everything right now. Oh, this is this, I guess. You know what I mean? And so my job is to make sure that I'm focused on the individual within a team atmosphere. That's the trick of it all. You know, and I've told them from day one, like when we got there, like we didn't have ACC Defensive Player of the Years, we didn't have all these first team all-conference players. So listen, with team success comes individual recognition. And then when you get that team success and you get that individual recognition, you got to rewind that because you had team success. That's why we got the individual recognition. And then go back on how do I improve each individual every single day and do it within a team atmosphere. But when your best player isn't wearing the same thing as the rest of the team, like you got to still coach that because it's getting back to the whole sum of parts. And I think when you're dealing with, coach, I'm not able to play, or I'm not going to play. And I mean, you have that in week 3 sometimes. I think he can play. Doctor said he's cleared. He's not totally comfortable. Like as a coach, do you say you have to? No, you don't do that. And so when you get to the end of the year, now we start using that word because I get it. There's more people, and I understand the whole thing. But as a coach, you're focused on the growth of each player, even when they're not with you. And I think that's when the real stuff starts.
Regardless of what we want to call it, the lineup you're going to have in the game is very different than the one you had against them. And you know some of that changes every weekend. But what are with so much turnover, I guess, this week, what are the challenges that presents to you as a coordinator in terms of schematics or
I think one of the things that really helps us as a program, and Mike does a great job, we've committed to this every Sunday night. So we play on Saturdays. Every Sunday, everybody in the country does this, right? Kids come in, they lift, they watch the tape. Well, on Sunday night for about 45 minutes, we take all those players that have really played under 20 reps a game, whatever that is, and they practice. It's full out contact, padded practice. And we run our offense and our defense. And what it helps when you get to the end of the year, because I've been at programs that don't do that, and when you get to the end of the year, you'll say, hey, run this call. And he'll look at you like, Coach, I haven't done that in 12 weeks. I'm not minimizing that gives everybody the experience to be prepared for the Orange Bowl. But I do think it helps, and I think it helps accelerate the growth of these players so when the time is called. Now, we've got guys that have been playing mostly special teams roles, and part of our strength has been, I think we have 21 players that have played over 200 snaps on defense. Well, that number isn't 21 anymore, right? And so some of those guys that were under that 200 threshold mark are getting put into, and that was when I talked to the staff on Tuesday night, I said, listen, we're not going to have a small rotation still because of our lack of experience. And there are some of these guys that have to be promoted, and it's our job to make sure they're ready for that. I don't want to go in the game and just have this a small rotation per se. So what I'm trying to say is the players that will play will be a little bit different in name. Some of our top end players that are playing and played a bunch of snaps, we're not going to accelerate their number to 80 snaps, right? We're going to make sure that these guys that are getting put into the fold, like they're going to be relied upon, and the expectations is that they go in there and play really well. We got to make sure they're ready for that as coaches. He was dancing. I just caught my attention.
where's your dance?
It's coming.
Okay, thank you.
What is Mike's mantra? All we have is all we need.
All we have is all we need. It's just basically saying whoever's in this room, like when you play at a major program like Florida State, there's so much outside noise, and we're not deaf to it. We're sensitive to all things. But early in our tenure there, it was, I can't believe these guys can't coach. I can't believe these guys can't play. Now, I can't believe how resourceful they are. This is the greatest defensive game plan I've ever seen in my life. And both things have been true. But I think it comes back to us just being focused and aligned on this is what we have, this is who we have, and this is the plan, and the work works, and we got to go stick to that. And I think that's kind of to try to sum that up. That's try to bring them back to that focus.
Charles and Kai getting to finally practice with y'all, just what's it been like watching them get at it and officially join the group?
You know, Charles grabbed me yesterday. He's like, "Coach, you're like really coaching me right now. This is awesome." And like he was in high school 2 weeks ago, and I'm now, you know, at an age and at a position, and just never lose that moment. You know, my son Jack came to practice yesterday. You know, he's a junior cross country runner, so he's walking the field, and like to a moment, I try to reflect every day on how we've gotten here, what we need to do to get better, because I think you learn from the past. That gives you the best experience to get better in the future. And to see like my son out there, and then I have Charles come up to me at the end of practice like, "Coach, this is awesome. Like you were coaching me," and I felt like because the relationship has been, you try to make it as real as you can through this process with Charles and Kai. But like now all of a sudden when you actually like have an opportunity for him to not fail, but correctable moments, and you find that moment and you do it with him, and he feels himself get better, like that's magic. Like that's what this whole thing is about. Your job is to just keep telling them what they know, right? Your job, it isn't to belittle them that they're always doing things wrong either. There's a balance to it all. But if you're just real, that's exactly what I want to do. Great job. And you high five them. They grow from that. Hey, do this. And he doesn't do it right when you say, "Oh yeah, good job," because you don't want to hurt his feelings. Like that's not helping him. And they know it. The real players know it. And so I think he's one that like respects it, and he's caught up like, I'm finally here. And I'm being told it's not good enough. Like this is exactly what I wanted, and it's exactly who I wanted to do it with. And so it's been super. I just love seeing Kai. We have some of the offensive guys out there too, but just to see Kai and Charles with us already, and you know, it's special. You know, to come full circle with the recruiting process.
Kind of to that. Not to say I know what goes on as a coach. I've never been a coach, but. You tell the kids, you do the work, you do everything right, the work will take care of itself. You guys did the work, you did everything right, you went 13-0, and then what happened happened. How did you process that? How did you process that Sunday of you didn't get your shot? And you did everything you could have done.
I was actually on a plane flying to Orlando to see Kai Bates after the championship game, and I forget whatever time that show was on, you know, and I was on the plane, and I realized, you know what, I could probably get the internet on my phone. And I'm flying to Orlando, so there's families with, you know, just the kids going to Disney next to me. And when I saw it come up, I turned my phone off, and I had these kids looking at me smiling, you know, because they don't know anything different. And you know, it was a frustrating moment. It was a little bit shock, but it was hurt knowing like, okay, the team is in Tallahassee. I'm flying the opposite direction. And so the immediate when I landed, I tried to reach out to them all, and some guys were receptive and like, "Coach, frustrated, but I feel you and I'm ready." Some guys like, "Coach, I don't want to hear it yet. Like, I'm not ready. Like, college football failed me. Like, I'm not dealing with it. This is not the way it's going to go." And I respected that too. And I think, like I said to you first, Tim, it's not about, okay, if you could say, what is the breaking point? If you could line things up and say, well, that's the breaking, but it's not the breaking point because we're here. And we're still going to play a football game. And we still have players we're responsible for. So now, for as leaders to say, you know what, this was too much. Well, what's going to happen for that young man when he gets to a point when he loses somebody or something happens like, well, that's like this, and this is the point that I get off. That's not the answer. And so I think that gives you the resolve.